So we have our final guest speaker coming up today, and I believe we're going to have a couple. Is that correct? Both coming up to wonderful, excellent. I researched them a little bit on YouTube, and surprisingly, they had just kind of joined the YouTube game, and they'll tell you about that maybe a year or two ago. But awesome content, and kind of got to know them a little bit through YouTube and a brief meeting beforehand. I think I just rattled off so many questions about what they're doing. I wanted to save a lot of that for a Q&A. So without further ado, I do want to welcome up Michael and Griffin. They have successfully completed over 200 flips and have acquired $30+ million in real estate. So I think they have something for us to say, or for us to listen to here. Go. Here's two different mics. Do y'all need the clicker?
We have lapel mics on, but
do y'all need the clicker?
Yeah. Yes, please.
There you go.
Okay.
You guys hear us? No? Mine does. It's okay.
I think mine is on.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Just talk loud.
Well, hey, thanks for everybody joining us today. We traveled all the way from Denver. You need to be here in Houston, so we're not using the rain.
Is it
Okay.
Thank you. So thanks for making the trip down here. We really appreciate you guys being here. I know it's been a couple hours. Also want to thank our vendors, so give them a round of applause if you don't mind. And if you can give the Franklin team, Andrew and Jimmy, they've been amazing. If you give them a loud round of applause. Amazing, amazing people. Thank you. So we're here. We're excited to be here. We know you've been sitting for a couple hours. We had a couple people have you stand up, but we need everybody to stand up this time. Everybody stand up, please. No exceptions, okay? We're gonna do a little exercise. So we know that most of the people in here are realtors, and so if you did between 0 and 5 deals in the last year, please put your hands up like this.
Above your head.
Above your head, way high, way high. If you've done between 5 and 10 deals, put your arms out.
Keep them up, keep them up.
Yeah, keep them up, keep them up. Between 5 and 10 deals, do this. Keep them high, keep them high. And then if you did over 10 deals in the past year, put your arms way out like this.
And keep them there. Keep them there.
Thank you, appreciate that. Keep them up, keep them up, keep them up. I need them up. Hold on, keep them up, guys. Keep them there. All right, right on.
Well, now that it looks like we have a standing ovation, I think our job is done here.
Thanks, Houston. You've been amazing. No, I'm just kidding. No, appreciate you guys doing that. And again, thanks for being here. The Franklin team found us on the internet, the interwebs. So they found us on social media. We've only been doing social media for about a year. We've built a great following within that year. Our Wealth by Real Estate brand is really blowing up on TikTok and Instagram. This gives you to our link tree. We offer courses and coaching, but please, if you can, friend us up on YouTube, on Instagram or TikTok. We give away a ton of free educational videos there. So if you want to learn more about investing in real estate, check us out on those different platforms.
Absolutely. So, we were asked here to talk about real estate investing. And I think the big question is, why is everybody so interested in real estate investing today? Everybody I talk to wants to get into real estate investing. And for us, of course it's money, but for us it boils down to 2 reasons, really. One is that there's never going to be more land, right? So it's natural appreciation when you buy real estate because money depreciates. The government, if they want more money, they just print more money, and that's what happened with the PPP loans during COVID, and now what we have is inflation, right? With real estate, there's never going to be more land. The natural shortage of supply is always going to lead to long-term appreciation, which again is a natural hedge against inflation. So that's number 1 for us. Number 2 is that we're never going to have more time either. There's only 24 hours in a day, 365 days in a year, and as we get older, time goes by faster and faster. We just had a baby. She's 5 months old. I feel like even the first months just flew by, right? And the sad matter is that nearly 70% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, right? And that's how we both started, living paycheck to paycheck. But we, wanted to make a change. And so we got into real estate, and ultimately, being a broker is great. You guys are already miles ahead of everybody else that wants to get into real estate simply because you have your license, which is a very powerful tool. right? But if you're only ever brokering for other people and not yourself, then it's very easy to fall into this statistic and to be part of that rat race, right? Because although you're your own boss and it seems great that you're being an entrepreneur and that you are your own boss, we know however many clients you have any given day is how many bosses you have, right? We're taking phone calls all day long at 7 in the morning, 9 at night, on weekends, on holidays. If you're strictly just an agent for yourself, you are part of this statistic.
Yeah, so don't be part of that statistic. Barb is that statistic. Barb does a lot of transactions. She's super busy, but she's only 30 years old, right? She's burnt out, right? You can get burnt out really easy, as many of you guys know, in real estate, chasing your next client, chasing your next check. But that's why we're here, to teach you more about how to build wealth by real estate.
And so, that brings us to really why we're here today. And I just wanted to share a quick side story. And last year, my uncle passed away, and it was my dad's twin. So, it definitely hit hard, especially for my dad and seeing that. But we went out to Cleveland last year to see him before he passed away. And he was diagnosed with cancer, so he was declining quickly. And so about a month before he passed away, we went out to see him. And it was obviously difficult seeing him in that state, but what was the most difficult was sitting down with his wife, Cindy, and she just started crying to us, and she said, he's worked his whole life. He's worked his whole life away, and now he's finally in his 60s, he's finally retired, and he doesn't have any more time left. We don't have any more time left. And so that hit us hard, and for what is RRN for us, that means to retire right now. That's the whole reason why we got into real estate, was to retire right now. So today we're gonna have a couple challenges for you. The first challenge is, in order to retire right now, you need to know your residual retirement number. Most people tell me all the time, well, I wanna get into real estate investing because I wanna retire early, but they don't know what that number is. If you don't know your goal, how are you supposed to achieve it? So for you guys today, we want you to go home, determine what your monthly finances are, what your expenses are in order just to live, right? Your mortgage, your car, food, but then on top of that, your discretionary income. This is the income that it takes to do the things that you want to go on vacation, to hang out with friends, to hang out with family, not have to go into work, but just to do the things that you want to. And this is not a time to be conservative, okay? Don't say, I want to make 10,000. That's just shooting too low. It's not going to give you the income that you need to have true financial freedom. So determine what your residual retirement number is. Maybe that's $50,000 a month. Maybe it's $70,000 a month. Maybe it's $100,000 a month to really live the lifestyle that you want. And then post that number where you can see it 5 times a day. That's what we did. That's how we started, right? So we said, we want to retire. How much do we need to make residually in order to actually retire? So we posted that on the background of our phone. We posted it on our screensaver on our computer. We posted it on our vision board, in the bathroom, in the car. I was seeing that number, 5 to 10 times a day. And I told myself when I was 26 years old, when I got into real estate, I'm going to retire by the time I'm 35. I'm 33, and we made it. So, if you see it multiple times a day, then you're much more likely to achieve it. So that's challenge number 1 for you guys.
Yeah, challenge number 2 is you have to take the risk, right? I mean, Andrew said it a lot in the beginning about taking risks and taking action and doing something for yourselves. If you never take action, you're never going to get the results. You guys are all sitting in here for a reason, right? You guys are in here because you want to learn about investing in real estate. Well, you got to take the action to go do that. Listening about it, going to seminars, reading books, that's all great, but you actually have to go do that, right? So if you don't do that, you're never going to build wealth by real estate. The challenge number 2 is to get educated. You're here in this room to be educated about some things. This is all 30,000 foot view, guys. Like we're giving some topics and tips on certain things, but you gotta be in the weeds in this, just like you're in the weeds in real estate. If you're not in the weeds, you're not learning. So you have to get educated. So that's challenge number 2, is to get educated. And the risk of not doing it at all is much more risky than doing it, right? People are like, oh man, I don't want to invest in real estate because it's so risky. I don't want to do Airbnbs. I don't want to do management. I don't want to be a landlord. I don't want to fix leaky toilets, right? But the risk of not doing that is much, much, much higher. If you don't start investing in real estate and you're chasing your checks all the time, are you going to be able to afford to put your kids through college? Are you guys going to be able to afford to retire when you want to? Most real estate agents don't have 401ks, right? Like, what is your retirement plan? You know, if you get hit by a truck tomorrow and you can't work, how are you going to provide for your families? This is what you guys got to be thinking about. You guys got to take it seriously. So the risk of not doing it is much higher than the risk of doing it. So, so this is a picture of me before wealth. I was allegedly high in this picture. I say allegedly because we're in Texas, and I don't think that stuff's legal here. But yeah, I was allegedly high. It sucked, right? I was eating Franken beans daily. I was working at a liquor store, trying to figure out what I was going to do in life. I didn't really have a plan. I got my real estate license because I thought it was a cool thing to do. I sold one house my first year. I made $13,000, right? I wasn't doing very well. In 2004, I saw a HUD property. I bid on it. I got it. I ended up doing a fix and flip and made my first biggest check. It was $35,000. That set me on a path forward to start investing in real estate and really open my eyes about that. And so, again, I was a young guy taking risks, and it happened for me.
And for me, like I said, I got into real estate in 2016, and I was working a corporate job. So I was a financial analyst. I was working harder than everybody else in the room. I felt that I was outworking even my bosses, but yet I was getting paid way less, and there was always going to be a ceiling as to how far I could achieve. And I said, this is just not working for me. So I quit my job, decided to get into real estate strictly for investing. Cold turkey. I didn't even look back. I had $3,000 in my bank account. I had no assets to my name. I didn't even own a car. I moved in with my friends in their spare bedroom. They were charging me $500. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to put myself in an uncomfortable position so that I have no other choice but to take action. And so that's what I did. And I got into real estate, and I met Michael, who was a commercial agent at the time. And I knew he was a serial entrepreneur. I knew he owned businesses. I knew he had what I needed to partner with. And so I came up to him and I said, look, you know, I want to get into real estate investing. I want to be a fix and flipper. I'm the hardest worker in the room. I'll do all the work. I'll find the properties. I'll find the contractors. I'll project manage. I'll sell it. I'll do everything. I just need your money.
and of course I said yes, right? Like I was like, damn girl, okay, let's do this. So, and then I made her my wife, which was awesome. So here we are.
So,
yeah.
For our deal, our partnership was for the first 2 deals that he would finance them and I would do all the work. And then after that, it would be 50-50. And that's how it's been ever since. So, I think we need to go back. Oh, no.
Yeah, you got it. There we go.
Okay, cool. No. Okay.
Next one. There we go.
Okay, right here. Okay. So, since then, in really a 5-year period of time, our first year, we did about 4 fix and flips. But since then, fast forward 5 years, we've done 300 fix and flips now, over $150 million of real estate sold. And that didn't come without challenges. So we definitely had a lot of challenges. Our very first fix and flip, actually, we lost $60,000. But I would do that all over again just to learn what I learned, to be honest. Because we see people paying thousands and thousands to get real estate education and then never do anything with it. I mean, for us, I was like, I would rather do my first fix and flip. Even if I lose, I'm going to learn more than anybody else that I know that's spent 5 years trying to get the education, right? So, with that, we've been able to build up our cash flow with the fix and flips and just dump that all into a real estate portfolio. So now we have over $30 million of real estate, and in a short 5-year time frame, we also have over 50% equity in that portfolio. And you might be saying, like, first of all, how do you acquire $30 million in 5 years? But second of all, how do you have over 50% in that portfolio? And those are things we're going to touch on today is really our strategies. With that, we have also started a staging company, which is now one of the largest staging companies in Denver. And we started a title company that's really an investor-friendly title company from the people that we work with. So it was just a natural progression of where we've come.
Yeah, so what qualifies us to sit here and speak to you guys other than us being amazing on social media? Well, it's our qualifications, right? Ultimately, Briana was the #1 agent 2 years running in Denver Residential Association of Realtors. She averages over $80 million solo per year, over 170 transactions per year as well. So she's an amazing, amazing agent. For me, I've been a serial entrepreneur. I've fixed and flipped businesses, owned several liquor stores, ambulance service. I think I had a car rental business. I mean, and right now I'm a partner in the largest steel and drywall framing company in Colorado. And I just sold my commercial real estate firm a couple years ago. So we know how to build and we know how to scale. And so that's why we're here today to give you some of these tips. And life after wealth. Life after wealth. Thank you. So life after wealth is much better, right? So my dad passed away 10 years ago. He asked me to take care of my mom, and of course I'm going to do that, right? So, I bought her the house next door to me a couple years ago. It's a 7-figure home right next door. She's right next door, and I can take care of her, and she can take care of us because she's an amazing cook. But that's what wealth builds, right? Wealth gives you the ability to take care of your family, and so we're lucky to be able to do that.
Talk about living the dream, living right next to your mother-in-law.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's great. Yeah. We love it.
It's great. She likes it. So our challenge number 3. So we already have find your RRN number. Number 2 was to get educated, and number 3 is to get leverage. We had some great presenters today. You're in a room today where you have a couple people that are willing to give you money. Hard money is easy to get. Many times you only need 1 month's bank statement to show you have funds. They're going to pull your credit, maybe 1-year tax return. They'll give you a loan. It's super simple, guys. So if you're not getting leverage, it's not debt, it's leverage, right? You're leveraging money to get real estate investments. So number 3 is go get leverage. You would never take your client and say, hey, go look at a house without bringing pre-approved, right? Well, you're not going to go start investing in real estate without getting your leverage, without getting that money. So contact these hard money lenders after today and go get pre-approved with them. Figure out how much you can buy, right? Secondly, also get a HELOC. Many of you guys probably have a primary residence or even investment properties. If you do, I can tell you right now, we have many, many homes and 100% of them have HELOCs on them, right? Small banks, credit unions allow you to have HELOCs on your investment properties. So get that money together, because a lot of times hard money lenders will allow you to, for the down payment, use your HELOC. So when people talk about, hey, I used none of my own money to buy an investment property, that's how they do it. They take their equity, they pair it with their hard money, and they go buy an investment. And then secondly,
leveraging people, right? So when we got started, I said, what am I worth? I want my salary to be worth $5,000 an hour. And that's what I said. I said, okay, maybe not today, but I know that down the line, I'm only going to work if I'm getting $5,000 an hour. And that was my goal. And, but I started with something realistic. I said, okay, anything under $50 an hour, I'm going to outsource. Because so many times we find ourselves, and this was from a business coach that I was talking to at the time, that he said, what are you doing? I said, I'm doing everything. I always do everything. And he said, well, okay, you might be doing the $5,000 an hour jobs, but you're also doing the $10 an hour jobs. And so therefore you are lowering your own net worth by doing that. And so, now we're able to stand in front of you guys here today, knowing that back home, we've built a team and resources for our fix and flips to still be doing 60 a year without us even being there, and that's the power of leveraging people. So ask yourself, what are you worth, and set that goal.
Yeah, and lastly, leverage yourself. You guys have your real estate license. You guys have access to the multi-listing service. You have access to properties. 50% of the properties that we flip, we find on market, right? We're just searching every day. We're purposeful. We're setting searches saying, hey, keyword searching like fix up, fixer, this type of stuff. And we're getting properties and we're analyzing them every single day. And guess what? If you're purposeful and you do that every single day, you're going to get properties. And guess what? You're going to get the commission from it, right? You could be your own best client. Bree built this portfolio, or this, her sales, 176 sales a year, $80 million portfolio. You know who her best client is? It's us. Half of those deals are us buying properties on market, right? So be your own best client. You are your resource.
So, which investment and why? Because real estate investing, encompasses a lot of different aspects. For us, the 3 buckets that we really have built our wealth with is fix and flips, long-term rentals, and short-term rentals. And we like to use this waterfall analysis because that's really how we built our portfolio. The top two tiers are really cash flow, right? So how do you get cash flow? One, being an agent, just doing, helping broker other people, you're going to get cash flow from that, right? And then from that cash flow, we dumped it into the second tier, which was to do fix and flips. So as much as I could get into fix and flips, I did. And then with the fix and flips, we generated much more cash flow that ultimately we all dumped into the bottom bucket, which helps us get our residual income and retire, right? So it's a tiered thing for us. And with the bottom bucket, that includes long-term rentals and short-term rentals, and in a wide variety of it. It's very diversified. So we have short-term rentals and long-term rentals really all over Colorado. We have some in Dallas. We have some in Alabama. We're now having our first short-term rental in Tulum, Mexico. So, all this diversification is great, but each one has its own risk profile, right? And it has its own benefits. So for fix and flipping, it's definitely higher risk unless you're educated and you have a strong foundation. Like I said, our first fix and flip, we lost $60,000. Now we've done 300 and we've lost on 4 total. Okay, that's because we've set ourselves up for success now. But you get much greater returns with that risk. So if you do it right with fix and flips, you can generate pretty significant cash flow pretty fast. With long-term rentals, that's kind of more the laid-back investment, right? It's lower risk, but because of that, you get lower long-term stable returns. So it's definitely good to have a mixed portfolio and have some of those in there because it's much less day-to-day management. Once you get great tenants in there, then they're paying your mortgage. And for us, we always do 15-year mortgages because, again, we just want to pay off our properties, be sitting pretty, and just get the residual income from it. So for us, long-term rentals is not really a cash flow game. It's more so long-term appreciation equity game. Then short-term rentals is kind of really the best mixture of both for us because we get the same benefits that we do with long-term rentals, but we're also getting much greater cash flow with our short-term rentals if you do it right. Just to kind of touch on each scenario and why we do them. Fix and flipping, it's all about the numbers and the cash flow, as I was saying. And I think where investors go wrong is that they bring their emotions into it. You can't bring your emotions into investing. It's all about the numbers. And we never really bid over what we're comfortable with, even in a competitive environment. And so for us, we seek a 50% cash on cash return. That means with each fix and flip that we do, if I'm putting $100,000 of my own money in that fix and flip, I want to get back $150 in 6 months or less, right? And that's the formula that we follow, that we just never deviate from. In addition to that, the two things that you really, really need to focus on with fix and flipping is your rehab numbers and your after repair value, what I think I can sell that property for. Now, wholesalers, you talked about getting wholesaling, and it's great, but a lot of times they like to underestimate the rehab and overestimate the ARV. So you have to do your own due diligence on that. And for us, we really try and overestimate our rehab. So if I think it's going to be 80, I'm going to say 100. And then for the ARV, if I think I can sell it for 600, I might say 550. So it's all about being conservative with those numbers and trying to get 150% cash on cash return and then maybe getting 175. So last year we averaged 175 on our fix and flip strictly because we were being conservative. The financing methods, as Michael touched on, hard money is fantastic for this. We used hard money for all of our fix and flips until just recently. Private money is great too. It's similar to hard money, and even seller financing. So you can save a lot if the seller is willing to finance back to you for 3 to 6 months, because then you're not having as many closing costs, you're not having the upfront fees, and they're just you negotiate with them. So if hard money is 12% or 10% a month, you might be able to get 8% from the seller. And that works for them because then they get the money for a couple months and then they still get all their money once you sell it. So bottom line, be conservative.
Yeah, and long-term rentals, Bree touched on that, and I think Andrew touched on this as well. Long-term rentals are great. It's low risk. You do have to be a landlord, but you get so many tax write-offs by having long-term rentals in your portfolio. You get the depreciation. You also get the appreciation every single year, and your tenant's paying down your mortgage until it's paid off, right? So this is a really great low-risk way to get in real estate. One thing we do is called the move-up method. We just move, right? For many, I still own properties that I had 20 years ago, and I just moved out of them and kept them. Move-up method is a great way just to keep rentals in your portfolio that you move out of. Don't ever sell a property, keep them if you can, right? So it's a great appreciation play, but you're not really in the cash flow. Don't buy rental properties, think you're gonna get rich by the cash flow portion of it. That's not gonna happen, right? So just know that, any money that you make, put it in a rainy day fund, because at some point that tenant's gonna move out. You may have to refurbish the property. You're gonna have to re-tenant it, and it's gonna cost you money. So it's not a cash flow play, but also in Houston's pretty, there's not a lot of regulation here as far as we understand. I mean, Denver, there's a lot of regulation. As a matter of fact, they're trying to pass legislation where they're saying there's going to be rental caps. You can't increase rent by a certain percentage. You can't evict people. It's going to take longer, right? So be wary. If you're not investing in Houston and you're looking at other markets, check out the regulations.
And then short-term rentals. I mean, this is something that honestly we are very passionate about right now. And when we first started, we were all about getting the long-term rentals. And then we started a short-term rental and we were like, why have we not been doing this for the past, several years? So we've been all in on short-term rentals for the past 3 years. And our first 2 short-term rentals was actually in the Dallas market. You get all of the benefits that you do of long-term rental, which is why we have those same benefits up there, but we flipped cash flow to the top of this because each of our long or short-term rentals brings in about $10,000 a month cash flow. And we're able to get a 15-year mortgage. We're able, all expenses paid for. We still net on top of our mortgages anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 a month. So, back to your RRN, let's say residually you want to make, $30,000 a month or whatever it is, that's potentially 6 short-term rentals and immediately you're there. So that's why we really love this, but I have to say that, short-term rentals are definitely becoming more saturated as they're becoming more popular, right? Especially in areas like Houston that doesn't have any sort of caps. So anybody can really get into it, which is a great opportunity for you guys right now, because what we're seeing is that regulation is coming in and putting a cap on how many you can have, which if you're already in that market is a huge benefit to you. And that's what's happened to us in Denver. We invest outside of Denver. We have a couple in Wheat Ridge. We have 3 of them. We got our licenses on those properties, and then they came out and said, okay, only 50 licenses in the entire city of Wheat Ridge. Now we have a natural built-in, no competition clause. So it's fantastic for us. So I would say for you guys, you have the opportunity here in Texas. There's plenty of locations all over Texas that are allowing short-term rentals. So get into it. Be wary of HOAs. That's the only thing. We won't invest anywhere that has an HOA because, as you guys know, HOA can put an amendment in their bylaws at any time. This is no short-term rentals. So that's the only reason we do that. Now, just to expand on this, analyzing a short-term rental and seeing whether it's a good deal or not is very similar to what you guys are used to as realtors in comping properties. Except for instead of comping the value of the property, I'm comping what can I get for my occupancy rate and what can I get for my average daily rate. Those are the 2 most important things to focus on when you're doing short-term rentals. You multiply those together and that's what your annual revenue is. So, if I'm looking at Airbnbs in an area and it looks like they're averaging 85% occupancy rate and their average nightly rate is $300 a night, well, I'm going to shoot conservative on that, but that's where my analysis starts. And then, we really focus on with short-term rentals getting paid. And so our strategies on getting paid is the pricing strategy is number 1. Many people will just throw it up on Airbnb and then use Airbnb's pricing analogy to price for them. So they have algorithms kind of like Zillow, where they'll just take an algorithm and say, here's your pricing for the year. You're going to miss out big time if you do that. We manage our own pricing because you can really maximize pricing if you do your due diligence in your area. So first of all, holidays, you always want to jack up the price. Sometimes we can double or even triple our nightly rate just because of a holiday. Secondly, do your due diligence on the local area and where it's located and what events are going on around it throughout the year. So let's say you're by a convention center, there's a big convention coming into town. You know that months in advance. So that weekend, I'm gonna price it 2-3 times more expensive. But the problem with Airbnb, or any short-term rental for that matter, is that once a guest books, you can't cancel them or else you're gonna lose your superhost status. So if you don't do that in advance and do that yourself, you're gonna miss out on a lot of income. Secondly, amenities. So can anybody tell me who's your biggest competition in short-term rentals? Hotels, absolutely. And hotels are known for bringing people in because of their amenities. So if you don't have any amenities and it's strictly just the home, then you're gonna be beat out by hotels and other Airbnb competitors of yours. So for us, being in Houston, obviously having a pool would be fantastic. In Colorado, all of our Airbnbs have hot tubs. We also turn all of the garages into game rooms. If not, the basement into a game room. Anything and any type of amenity that you can have there as a draw, you need to do it. Even photo walls for Instagram. It's something as simple as having like a cool backdrop and, having people pose in front of it, and an Instagram wall. Things like that you have to be creative with. Thirdly, design. And this is again where you guys as agents have a huge leg up because you know how to market properties. We see it all the time. People will go into grandma's house, take their phone, take pictures, throw it up on Airbnb and hope that it sells. And that's just not how it works. You have to spend time with the design. We always remodel our short-term rentals, make them nice. We stage them and are very purposeful with the staging. We get really nice photography. Otherwise, it's not going to sell online. And then finally, experiences. So people are coming to short-term rentals to vacation, right? So you want to create an experience for them. We sometimes make relationships with local vendors that do tours. So, in Colorado, we've made relationships with people who do hiking tours, who do restaurant tours. Colorado is known for their brewery, so brewery tours, even marijuana tours. That's what Colorado is all about. Whatever you can do to set yourself apart, or even having, a professional chef come in and saying, hey, we have a professional chef if you want to book them for any of the nights. So it's about the whole well-rounded experience, and that's how we have 85% on average occupancy rates on all of our Airbnbs, but the national average is 48%. So there's a big difference between it, okay?
Oh, okay, this one's mine. So challenge number 4, guys, is find your strategy, right? For us, it was doing fix and flips. You saw the waterfall analogy. Pours into long-term rentals and short-term rentals. You can use your commission and start pouring that into these investments, right? Use the strategy that we just built. And here's the thing, guys, like we flip and hold. We don't actually sell the properties many times, but we do hold on to the property, we make them nice, and then we hold them for short-term rentals or long-term rentals. Another thing, if you do it that way, then you're pushing equity. You're creating the equity in the property, right? And you're holding on to that property, you have a ton of equity in it, in which you can get a HELOC against and go do it again, right? It's a great way to push equity in properties if you do the rehab on them, even if you're keeping them and not flipping them, right? So determine what your strategy is to create that long-term wealth and the RRN number, and you'll get there sooner than later. And at the end of the day, there's a secret formula, guys. And this is a big, big secret, right? The secret is you. It's you, guys. No one's going to do this for you, right? We can sit up here and all these speakers could talk to you till our faces are blue about, this is what you have to do. This is how you make money in real estate. Here's how you retire early. But we can't do this for you guys. You guys got to get off your butts, leave here today, and actually take action. It's all about action. You guys were doing a 9-to-5 job probably before getting your real estate license, right? You were like, I'm gonna take a risk and I'm gonna go get this and I'm gonna do something for myself, right? Do it again. You already did it once. You know you can do it. Do it again.
And so, a couple methods that we've really used in order to get our portfolio where it's at, but also have, 50% or greater equity in our properties, is using methods like this. So Andrew touched on it as well, but it's the BRRRR method. Has anybody heard of the BRRRR method? Yeah, probably everybody at this point. If you haven't, you need to know what it is. And it stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat, okay? And so, I tell people the easiest way to think of it is can you recycle your money? Like if I have $150,000, can I use that same $150,000 to buy 5 properties? The answer is yes, if you do this method, right? So it's all about value add. And so I just wanted to give you a quick example of one that we just bought last year for an Airbnb in Colorado. And I had to laugh when Andrew gave his example and the buy price was $150,000. We don't have that in Colorado. That will buy you like a doghouse in the backyard. So our prices are a little bit higher, which is a huge benefit for you guys being in Houston and having those cheaper prices, because your barrier to entry is lower than us in Colorado, right? Or California or somewhere else more expensive. So we bought this property for $460,000. We put $150,000 into the rehab. We totally remodeled the property. Now we used a hard money loan on this, and this is what we've been talking about. Hard money will generally finance 80% of the purchase and the fix-up. So you're financing the whole process, right? Now the total cash required for us in that project using hard money was $143,000 of our own money to do that project. Now once it was done and remodeled and pretty and we got it rented on short-term on Airbnb, then we refinanced into a long-term a conventional mortgage, right? So when we refinanced, the property then appraised for $800,000. And as you guys know, a conventional loan, if you're doing a cash out refinance, it will finance up to 75% of that value. So now our new loan is $600,000. Remember, our first loan was $488,000. So now I can take out $106,000 of our own money into that project. And now my net cash invested in that project is only $37,000. So now I have another $100,000. I still have 25% equity in the home, which is fantastic. Or if I don't need the money, I can just keep all that equity in the project. And now I have, instead of 25% equity, I have 30 to 50% equity. So if you do this value add proposition with your properties, then it just opens the door for so many options for you. Like I said, you can take out your cash, you can leave it in and keep going. So just opens the door for a lot of opportunities.
This is exactly how we built our wealth. This is pushing equity. This is getting your net worth up, right? This is a quick way to get your net worth up very fast and using the same money over and over again to continue to do that process.
And again, Andrew also touched on, it's called bonus depreciation, right? So this is something that you guys need to capitalize on now. The reason being is because previously you could bonus depreciate 100% of your rehab. Now that's being phased out over the next 6 years. Okay, so last year we were able to capture 100% bonus depreciation of our rehab. This year it's only 80%. Next year, 60, the next 40, and so on and so forth until you can no longer bonus depreciate. So get in on it now. And the reason being is because, like I said, with that previous example where we put $150,000 into the rehab, whether that was our own money or not, as I said, we used hard money, you can bonus depreciate that. And so last year, let's just say, your net taxable income is $200,000 after all your expenses, okay? But now with the bonus depreciation at 80%, I can write off another $120,000. So now my new net taxable income is only $80,000. So just to show you the example, without the depreciation, it's $60,000. With the depreciation, my taxes now are only $24,000. So that means I have another $40,000 to go continue investing. Okay.
This is how the rich get richer, guys. I mean, here's the thing. People always say, oh man, you have to pay tax on the fix and flips. Absolutely, you have to pay the tax. But we turn around and keep properties, and that way we can bonus depreciation in the rehab. So although we made all that money in our fix and flips, we're now doing bonus depreciation to save money on taxes, right?
And keep in mind, this bonus depreciation is if you're going to keep the property long term, right? If you're planning to sell the property next year or in 5 years, you probably don't want to capture bonus depreciation because you're going to have to pay it back. But for us, our portfolio, we want to keep our properties. So this is the time to capture it.
Yeah, so basically we have 4 different challenges we talked about. Number 1, your RRN. When you leave here today, make sure you come up with that number, 30,000, 40,000, I don't care what it is. Make sure it exceeds even your wildest imaginations, okay? Don't do what you think you could do. Do something above that, All right. Number 2 is get educated. We're here today to learn. We're going to continue to get educated, and that's something that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Number 3, obtain leverage. A couple hard money lenders in the room. Go get qualified in the next few days. Number 4, determine what strategy is best for you, whether short-term rentals, long-term rentals, fix and flips. And then lastly, do it in the next 6 months. Go buy your first property in the next 6 months. Okay. Don't wait till next year. Don't go back to your normal lives and forget about this. Set purposeful ways today. Okay. And I know this can happen. I mean, we've seen it time and time again.
So as we mentioned, we do courses. We just started those last year. The reason being is because we get asked all the time. And honestly, I personally did it because you guys know that I broker, right? I'm an agent for other investors in particular, because like I said, I really love investing. So I wanted to learn from other investors. So I started brokering for other fix and flippers. And I said, hey, I'll list your property. I'm going to do a great job. And I saw these fix and flippers losing their ass on these properties. And I didn't understand why. Like they just had no direction. And they were buying properties from wholesalers who were telling them that they could sell this property for $1 million. And I would look up the comps and I'm like, you could only sell this for 800, So I'm like, first of all, I don't want to see anybody lose on investing. All of our clients that we've taught have made. And like we said, we've made a lot of our own mistakes. On our first fix and flip, we lost $60,000. We've had multiple lawsuits with contractors. One of them was $200,000, right? So we've made big mistakes, but because of those mistakes, we've put into place standard operating procedures, documents, lawyer-approved documents, the spreadsheets we've continued to make better and better so that we can give our students a strong foundation to know and feel confident going into real estate investing, right? When you got your license, you took a test to get your license. And for the first 2 years, you had to operate under a managing broker, right? Same thing here with real estate. You don't want to just jump in, have no mentor, or not do anything. So these are some clients over the past year, even just in the past months, that Amy and Nick, Amy's a broker in Colorado with us, and she's a high producing broker. She has 2 kids, and she's like, I am getting burnt out. I work all the time. I barely get to see my kids, and I am making other people rich, but I want to make myself wealthy. And so we coached them. They took our course and they did their first fix and flip, and they used their HELOC. So they used equity on their home. They didn't even use their own cash flow. And they made $85,000 on their first flip, 85% return. I don't know where else you're going to get those returns in any other business. You're not. And now they've doubled down. So now they're working on 2 fix and flips, and they're buying a short-term rental. So it's pretty awesome to see. Carrie and Melissa. Carrie is a close friend of ours, actually, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer 2 years ago. Okay, so she was a top producing broker in our firm as well. And then she got diagnosed with breast cancer. She had to take a year off because she's like, look, it's either my job or my life. And I want to take the stresses out of my life. And I'm not going to make income for the next year. And that's when she came to us and she's like, look, I need to do something different. I can't just keep brokering. I need to build my own wealth so that if anything happens to me or my family, I know that they're going to be taken care of. So they just got their first fix and flip, and they put $80,000 of their own cash into it. And they netted $92,000 on it, which is 114% return. Pretty huge. Finally, Mike, he had a portfolio of 10 long-term rentals, but he saw us doing our short-term rentals and saw how much cash we were making from them. And he's like, this is my retirement. He's already in his 60s. And so he sold a long-term rental. He dumped it with a 1031, so didn't even use any of his own money. Used a 1031 and got a short-term rental in Branson, Missouri. And now instead of netting, $2,500, which was what he was getting on his long-term rental, he's getting $7,000 a month on his short-term rental. So this is why we're doing what we're doing, because we've already built strategies to do it ourselves, but now we really want to influence other people and help them and see them build the wealth that we built, hopefully quicker, because like I said, we made a lot of mistakes.
For sure. So at the end of the day, guys, we're here to again teach you some tips and tricks that we use. But we have again, this was a 30,000 foot view, right? There's so much more that goes into investing in real estate. Bree talked about her coach that she had when she first started. I'm sure you guys had mentors and coaches when you guys first started real estate. Andrew talked about a coach that he currently still has, right? So, I wouldn't advise jumping into investing in real estate unless you have a coach, a mentor, some sort of courses that can teach you how to do it properly so you don't make the same mistakes we did in the beginning, right? It'll fast track your success. We have courses available. We have mentorship and coaching.
I'd say the biggest value add of our courses is just the documents that we have that I talked about that we use every single day. And this is stuff that we've just developed over the past 6 years. We started off with nothing, no spreadsheets, no nothing, no lawyer approved documents. And then we realized pretty quickly we're gonna need all those things. So of course we have all our spreadsheets, lawyer approved documents. I mean, we have operating agreements, partnership agreements, but one of the most important is the construction and services agreement that you have with your contractor, just to have a mutual understanding and avoid litigation. But then, the short-term rentals, we give away our supply checklist, we give away our staging checklist, we give away our design books. So I design all of our own properties and I give you guys my design books. I give you guys our guidebooks that we use in short-term rentals to help create those experiences that I was talking about. I mean, there's really nothing that we don't use that's not in here. So you can see how many documents our courses have. So we're trying to basically give you everything that you need to get started.
So what do you expect when you come aboard one of our coaching programs? The accountability. We're making sure that you're doing what you say you're going to do. We're touching base with you. You're getting to our private Facebook groups where you connect with us directly and you can ask any questions to us directly, and we're super responsive. You also get connected with our hundreds of other course members. So you're connected with like-minded individuals that are doing the same thing you're doing, and you can ask them questions about their process as well. You also get into our Discord, as well as future invitations to other events, and available one-on-one coaching in the future as well.
Okay, so we want to do something fun for you guys today. We've never done this before, but since we were asked to come all the way from Denver and to be with you guys here in Houston, we wanted to do something special for you guys too. So for anybody that does sign up for our course within the next couple days, we are going to put you guys into a contest, and we're going to draw it for a chance to win a free stay at one of our Airbnbs in Colorado. And then we'll take you guys to a nice steak dinner in Colorado as well. But I think that the best way to do it is just to see how we are so successful with our short-term rentals, to see the feature cards that we put up through the house, to get a chance to experience the things that we were talking about. So we're going to do it on Facebook Live. We're going to make it fun on social media. But again, anybody who does sign up for our courses, you're going to be entered into a chance to win a free stay at one of our Airbnbs.
Yep. So basically, there's two options here, guys. And I know that 90% of the people, honestly, I mean, it's a 10% rule. 90% of you guys in this room are going to go back kind of jazzed up, thinking about some things, but you're going to go back to being in the rut, in the weeds, and brokering for other people and making other people wealthy. You're going to go back to taking care of your families, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay, that's fine. There's 10% of the people in this room that are actually going to take action after today, that are going to do something about what we talked about today, that are going to go with a hard money lender and go get pre-approved and start developing searches for the next property that they're going to buy, right? That's going to happen. Those are the people we want to work with. Those are the people we want to coach. Those are the people we want to help make wealthy. So the question is, are you going to be a part of the 10% or are you going to be the other 90%? That choice is only yours, right?
So, we are giving a discount code for you guys. So just scan the QR code, and then it'll take you right to the discount. Again, we just are here because we want to see you guys do the same thing that we did, but in a much quicker time. And we want you to be the Nicks and the Amys and the Carries and the Mikes that we've already been able to help and have been so wildly successful. And that's, super rewarding to us since we've been able to achieve what we have. So thank you guys so much. We wanted to leave time for a question and answer, I hope, if that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually what we would like to do is bring up James and Andrew as well, because we have about 15 to 20 minutes left for a Q&A, but good grief. They had me at steak dinner. So yeah, I'm definitely signing up for the course. And even though we have a few investment, short-term rentals ourselves, we're still constantly learning. And I would like to kind of skip the learning line, go straight to the front, get the answers to the test.
Sure.
So let's go ahead, and what we'll do, Miriam, can you help me out real quick? And you can take this microphone, and I will take that microphone, and I'll pass that among us up here, and you can pass this one to someone that might have a question. Pass this between you. Thank you. Miriam just got herself a short-term rental. She's an agent on our team. So good. All right. So selfishly, I'm going to start off the questions because I have a microphone. Bree, you talked about seller financing some of these deals. And guys, if you're a real estate agent, this is a wonderful way to get started with little money down and to skip one of the entire closing cost of a transaction. But were you referring to more of a novation type deal whenever it came to seller finance?
Novation, so actually I have a mic.
Oh, that works.
Novation is a little bit different because with a novation, you're kind of partnering with that seller to do the renovations while they still own the property. Yep. And then you sell it at the end and you work out some sort of equity agreement on the back end. So novation is a good strategy. It is a little bit different. But with seller financing, you are committing to buying that property from them. And then they're just going to essentially, you're going to make payments to them for the next 3 to 6 months or even a year at X% interest. So whatever you guys negotiate. And then you have a deadline on that. So then after that 1 year, it's like the balloon payment for the rest of it.
So you're purchasing that property to buy and hold. So it makes more sense to do it that way. Novation.
No, to flip.
Okay.
Yeah, to flip. And I mean, you can do it to hold, but it's nice. It's a nice strategy because instead of getting hard money, you're financing the seller during the time that you're flipping the property.
Yep.
And selling it, but then you have a deadline on that as to when you need to give them their full payment for the rest of the house. So it's just it's a way to kind of skip using hard money and negotiate directly with the seller if they're willing to.
Good, excellent, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, who else has a question? Try to keep it to bullet points, please. But who has a question? All right, you were first. Miriam, can you?
My question is for James Toller. I'd like to know where your event's going to be in the Galleria because I definitely want to be there.
All right.
Didn't have a fancy QR code or
I'll give you the address. Everybody wants to write it down. It's 1220 Augusta Drive. That's Augusta Drive, Suite 600. Houston, Texas, 77057. Yeah. No, there's no fee. No, it's free. Yeah, that's food and drinks, and it'll be really good. And I couldn't agree more. I mean, isn't he? He's amazing. Yeah. So. Oh no. It's 6 to 9. Yeah, and we'll probably do something afterward too. We'll go have a good time.
Thank you. Okay, we have a second one?
Yes.
Go ahead.
This is for Andrew. You mentioned finding the deals from wholesalers. How do you find the wholesalers?
So there's a son in town. Someone actually asked me that. I'll give some big names out, but a lot of times it's better to find a smaller guy. But there are some big names that do a lot. One, we do Encore Acquisitions. So if you're interested, reach out to us and we can add you to the list. Net Worth Realty, they're a big one. New Western, Big State Home Buyers.
New Western.
Yeah, New Western. But honestly, the best thing are go to events like James are putting on and network with people, because most of those people in these events that he puts on are investors and a lot of them are wholesaling. And so a lot of times the smaller ones don't have the same overhead. They might be buying deeper. So I mean, the two that I lost on, I bought from Net Worth. Nothing against them, but I bought from the big guys. So
I can attest to that. We have both a New Western and a Net Worth in Denver, and they just have that reputation. We make relationships with the small guys too, because they can sometimes, like I said, underestimate the rehab, overestimate the ARV, and get you in a bad situation.
One thing I would say about that is you want to find the mom and pop wholesaler because they don't have a big buyer's list. So the smaller their buyer's list, the more likely you're going to get a decent deal. So that's one thing I'll say. And to go a step beyond that, when you have great people like this teaching and training, as you become more educated in the game and in real estate, you start training wholesalers and they stay a little more loyal to you. So I think that's very, very, very important. I get a lot of deals there. I've just helped people grow their business, and and in return, they'll send you deals. That's the goal of it. Not that they have to, but typically from a loyalty, they will.
Yeah, just be careful. Like Bree said and James said, that these net worth, the bigger wholesale guys, there are a bunch of 21-year-old, 25-year-old guys in there that have never flipped a home, and they're telling you this is what the ARV or after repair value is. Here's what the rehab numbers are, right? That's coming from corporate. They have no idea what those numbers are. They're just trying to sell you. Whereas if you get them from Andrew, he's a flipper. He understands what the ARV is and what the rehab. These are real numbers, guys. They're not overinflating it a lot of times because they actually are in the weeds, are in the business.
Another thought, just last thought with that is these guys rotate. You never get the same agent. They're there 3 months and they're gone. So they don't really have an incentive to build long-term relationships. That's what I found. So people like Andrew is going to be around 50 years from now. So, that's a different type of relationship you're developing. And I think that's important.
There are also, one last thing on that, there are also wholesalers that will do the financing. So when a wholesaler comes to you and says, hey, it's worth 200 and I'll finance it based on a 200 number, they're like, believe it's 200. And so I know James does that. We do that. And so a lot of times with the wholesaler, they're going to try to take every bit out of that deal. If they're willing to finance you, they're trying to sell it to you at a fair number. Because if they were trying to take every cent out of that deal, you as an investor are probably not going to make money. And so if they're willing to finance it, they're doing that because they believe you're going to be profitable on the deal.
So I know we have another question, and you are limited to one question. So you've already spent your one question, but we'll give you another. But there was what we were talking about as far as making relationships within this industry. I was in a duck blind last year, and I met Senna Home Buyers, Matt Trenchard, and great guy. And I think since then we've done 12 deals together. The thing is that some of them. We've sold the same house like 3 times. We sold it to them. They remodel it, they repair it. We put it on the market and sell it to our own buyer. So it's a very, very, very beneficial relationship. And I know that in the past, real estate agents and wholesalers have been kind of like that lions and hyenas. And it shouldn't be the case. If you work together, you can get a lot done. So another question?
My question is for Bree. What is the cost of your courses?
So if you use the QR code here, it will take you right to them. I believe that
$2,900 for each individual course, or you can buy them as a bundle package.
As a bundle for less.
That's a great deal. Yeah. Imagine not having that information and, taking the hard path or hitting every single, hurdle along the way. That's going to cost you a lot more than $2,900.
And we've spent more than $2,900 on even just one of those documents for lawyer fees, So.
I have no upside or anything on this. We reached out to them. We didn't know them. But I can attribute a lot of my success to coaching in classes like that. I mean, the one I was at in Phoenix, I paid $5,000 to be at. The check that I just wrote, I mentioned. The coaches that are smarter than me that have already been there have absolutely shortcutted my growth. So again, I don't care if you buy their course, but I believe that it's been a huge driver in my wealth. So, awesome.
All right. Any other questions? Oh, front row. Our front row is full of questions. Makes it easy.
So my question is for Bree. For your STRs, how do you determine pricing? Do you do it through AirDNA? Also, do you list them on Airbnb and VRBO? How do you do that?
Yeah, so AirDNA is a good resource for that, and we definitely utilize AirDNA to really, again, see what the occupancy rates are and the average nightly rates. And then we price accordingly. When we first put up our short-term rentals, we always price below that, because you have to keep in mind that for the first several months, you're just trying to build your reputation. Anytime you look for a short-term rental, you're always looking at the reviews, right? You're not going to have that when you first start off. So that's why we price lower, to really give these people a great value, so they give us good reviews, and then we start increasing our pricing. But like I said, we play with it. So we have, like, it's called the 3-2-1 pricing strategy that we talk about. And if it's 3 months out and it hasn't been booked, we have the price higher. But as we get closer to the deadline, like if it's a week out and we still haven't booked it, then we'll drop it. So we do 3 months, 2 months, 1, and then 3 weeks, 2 weeks, 1. So we drop it accordingly, but if it's booked, if it's out, then we try and get the highest prices possible. So
we use a company, and I would be interested to know y'all's opinion. We use a company called Price Labs. Have y'all used those? Do y'all have an opinion on that company?
No, I mean, I think that the only reason why we haven't used the pricing strategies is I think that there's no way for them to actually do the local due diligence on the events in the area too.
Yeah,
so to utilize when an event is coming in and be able to price it higher, and you might miss out on that. But yeah. I'm not saying anything else about it. I'm sure for holidays and otherwise, they do a good job.
One of our Airbnbs is right next to a concert venue. So we know when concerts are coming in, we're jacking up the prices. So it's a huge value add to be able to do that ourselves rather than hiring. And by the way, guys, running your own Airbnb is not hard. It's not a difficult thing to manage it. I can tell you on our portfolio, if I'm managing one Airbnb myself, it takes me maybe 10, 15 minutes a day. You got a good cleaner, you got a good handyman. That's all you really need. Airbnb and VRBO apps do the majority of the heavy lifting. So don't be scared of management.
That's what I tell her all the time.
Well, yeah, and I would second that with saying you have to leverage and you have to have a good team. If you're trying to do all of this yourself and you're trying to scale it, it's not going to work, and you're going to be like, well, this is disappointing. You have to have a good team. Call on that team. Let them do their job. We have another question over here.
Do y'all ever utilize tax advantage accounts for deals like assets in an IRA or something like that? What are the advantages and disadvantages? I know you can't, if you're under 59 and a half, you can't generate cash flow out of it. But if I want to do investment in real estate as a side business, generate tax-free income aside an IRA, have y'all done that?
Yeah, so one of the books I put up was called Self-Directed IRA Handbook. So what he's talking about is taking your 401k that is not at a current company, and you can self-direct it. And so you can do hard money loans in it. You can't, there's rules around it. Like you can't run a flipping business, but you can do a flip in it, or you can do a wholesale in it. And that builds all pre-tax dollars. So I have not rolled over ours yet, but that is something that I was talking about doing in December. So I don't know if anyone else has experience. Yeah. But what people in my group that I'm in, they tend to do their best deals within their self-directed IRA. So like if they have like a $60,000 wholesale fee, they'll do it in their self-director, or they have a big flip because they don't want to pay taxes on that, and it builds compound with no taxes. So it's a big strategy, but one of those books talks all about that.
Quest Trust is a really good place to go to for that. I've borrowed money from there, but I've never done that. But anyway, that's just a good place to go to, Quest Trust.
And I have a name for someone that I have a relationship with as well. So if you want to reach out to me.
So while Miriam's going back there for that one, I do have a question for James, because I feel like it might be relevant for maybe a lot of you sitting in here today who are in real estate, want to get started in real estate. But so James, I just closed a property. I got a $10,000 commission check. at least that I can work with. How do I get started in real estate? How can I put that into some type of real estate investing? If I want to get started today, I'm ramped up, I'm walking out of here, I want to get into it. How do I invest $10,000 into real estate? Can I invest $10,000 into real estate?
Yeah, exactly. 10,000 is tough. You'd have to get a really good deal. I usually say you need about 15 to 20 to make your notes. When you rehab a house, even though you have rehab funds in escrow with a lender, you're going to front the rehab. So it's tough to do a 10K. I'd probably say getting educated would be my opinion. The more education you get, you're better off. You're a little wiser. When I first started, like the realtor I work with, the title company I work with, they almost fired me, because I was asking so many questions. And when you have hundreds of thousands of dollars on the line, you need to know. It's just one little tip, one little thought, it could be big money. So I would educate myself, and I'd get in rooms like this and around people you admire and trust. I think that's really important too. That they're where you want to be in life. That's what I try to do.
I'm just going to chime in on that, because people ask me all the time too, and we work with a lot of people that are like, I don't have the money, and I didn't. I told you guys, I didn't have the money when I got started. And for me, getting educated, I think, is extremely important. But finding a partner, and if you are educated and you know what you're talking about, and you can actually bring deals to the table and do all of the work, then it's much easier to find a financial partner. But if you go and try and find a financial partner and they're like, have you ever done this before? No. Do you know anything about it? No. Then, it's much harder to find a partner that's going to have faith in you. So get educated, know what you're doing, know how to find deals, find those deals, and then it's very easy to find a financial partner.
To bring in value to the transaction. That's the real key there. You find somebody like Andrew who you admire, you want to partner with, they bring you value, you're open to it. But if they just come to you and say, teach me it all, that's a little harder to sell there. That'd be my suggestion too.
That's a great one. We have a question in the back.
Yeah, my question is, how did y'all decide what market to buy your short-term rentals in?
For us, it's our first due diligence piece is always on the regulation, right?
Okay.
So before we're doing anything, we're checking the regulation in that area and seeing what is the most short-term rental friendly for regulations. And you guys have the benefit of living in Texas, where it is very friendly towards short-term rentals. In Colorado, it isn't as much. Like I said, they're doing a lot of caps. Many cities, it has to be your primary residence if you want to have it as a short-term rental. So, I would say start there in local even, because for us, we wanted to learn with a property that was local so that we knew we had the resources that we needed. We knew we had cleaners there. We knew we had handymen. We knew we had contractors if we needed it. So that's where we started. And then you can start doing your due diligence on where are locations that bring in, so AirDNA, as she mentioned. You can go on AirDNA and it says like the top locations for short-term rentals and what they bring in. A lot of those are in the Southeast. So, Tennessee, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida. Those are great areas because they're very friendly, regulatory towards short-term rentals, but also people travel there a lot. So,
I would say rip off and duplicate. I always give that advice. So the first one we did, there was a home on the market on MLS that my wife and I were wanting to make an offer on. They had all their numbers, and they were showing a crazy amount of cash flow. They told us their actual occupancy. It was in the beginning of COVID, and then my dad convinced me not to buy that one. It went up like $200,000 in value, so he gave me terrible advice. But what we ended up doing, because we had that perfect comp right there. We knew the regulations. We knew this exact comp was great. So we bought a lot down the street. we built almost the exact same house. And that was the case study we did, but we already knew what we knew what the revenue was going to be. We knew what the occupancy was. Air DNA we use as well, but this was the actual same house we were going to build. And so we had confidence going into that because we knew that we could even make the property a little bit nicer with amenities. And so we had our numbers from day one before we even bought the lot. So, love you, Dad.
Yeah, so we actually don't have time, and I know that some of y'all still have questions. Please come up to us, ask those questions afterwards. But I do want to bring up Mr. Jimmy Franklin, who is going to be closing us out today. Thank you so much for putting this on.
This will be brief. I just want to thank everybody for coming. What did y'all think? Did it look like there was some good value there? Thanks. We're trying to hold a lot of these events to add value to everybody's lives, both business and personal, and then financial security. This particular and so we do like feedback for ideas that y'all might have, for our next events. This particular subject was. Is a big passion of mine. I've always said that finding real estate in my 20s saved me from being the slacker, or kept me from continuing to be the slacker that I had been up to that point in my life. But finding real estate investment changed my kids' lives and my family's lives. So I was very excited about this particular event, and I think we got some amazing speakers. So thanks for coming. You don't have to go home. You just can't stay here anymore.
It was really nice to meet you. Hey, thank you so much. Thanks. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us.
Yeah. No, great.
Thank you so much. Hopefully we added value to everybody here. Oh, thank you so much.
Even just a little bit. Thank